Hello, and welcome to Kim and Ashton's 9th weekly update. We are reporting from Niseko, Japan.
Since this week has been uneventful, we decided to present 10 interesting aspects about Japan that we learned in our travels.
Number 10. Flora Grits. When walking through the streets of Japan with our suitcases, we encountered a lot of resistance from yellow-painted bumps on the sidewalks. They would run vertically on sidewalks and cover the crosswalk as well. It wasn't clear to us what it was for. Later, when we asked friends about them, we found out that it was actually for the visually impaired to help them maneuver the streets and to aid them in knowing when to stop so as not to walk onto the street. It's a really interesting concept and something that is, to our knowledge, not instituted in North America.
Number 9. Toothpicks. When dining in Japan, you may notice toothpicks nearby. It is customary to cover your mouth while picking your teeth in order to be respectful.
Number 8. Food at train stations and the airport. Some of the best food can be found at train stations and the airport. Arguably the best ramen we had was at Tokyo train station. What's great is that unlike North America, the food at the train station and airport are reasonably priced. They are not hiked up. The food was delicious.
Number 7. Onsens. There are many hot springs in Japan called onsens. While there are some locations where men and women can bathe together, most often the two sexes have their own separate bathing areas. If you're looking to warm up on a cold winter day, onsens are the way to go. Before entering a public bath, you should take a shower first, so the water is clean for all to enjoy. Some onsens will provide you with 2 towels. However, not all will do so. Most people have 2 towels with them. One large towel, which they use to dry off at the end of a bath, and one small towel, which they use to dry off any sweat that they may have had. So that it doesn't get soaked, what they do is they place it on their heads while they are in the onsen. Finally, tattoos are not permitted for onsens. If you have a tattoo, you could cover it up with a bandage. Otherwise, you may be escorted out of the premises. The reason why tattoos are not held in high regard is because they are often associated with gangs. Fun fact.
Number 6. Garbage and recycling. Walking around Tokyo and Sapporo, we quickly noticed that there are no garbage bins on the street. In fact, in one instance, we were eating a tasty ice cream pancake dessert and realized that there was nowhere to throw out the paper holding it. We quickly glanced over to our friend, and hers had disappeared. We asked her, and she said it is customary to carry your garbage home with you and dispose of it there. So, as a helpful hint, it's really good to carry a little plastic bag to hold all your garbage in. Some places like Starbucks or fast food places have garbage bins inside, so that is also an option. Garbage and recycling in general in Japan is very different. Japan does not have landfills. Instead, they recycle a lot of it in many different bins, way more than us, and they have also burnables. That's garbage that they burn to dispose of.
Number 5. Change rooms. If you're looking to go shopping in Japan, you may notice that some change rooms have boxes of thin disposable cloths on the ground. These are meant to be placed on top of your head before putting on the shirts or clothes. This helps to protect the clothing so that makeup or hair products will not damage the material.
Number 4. Technology. In terms of technology, Japan is usually seen as the future. For the most part, it is. That said, as the Japanese respect tradition, they also hold on to and continue to use a lot of older technology. For instance, DVDs are still going strong. Fax machines are still heavily used for all companies and hotels, and there are also many shops to sell traditional albums.
Number 3. Toilets. The toilets in Japan are spectacular. They often have multiple features available, but my own personal favorite is the music or sound effects. Previously, people with a shy bladder would constantly flush the toilet so that no one else in the public bathroom would hear them. Now there are sound effects installed into the toilets, especially for public areas, so that the sound of a gentle stream will play the moment you sit down. There are also squatting toilets. In large public bathrooms, there are often both types of toilets available, though the Western toilets will often have longer lines. Some toilets even have a faucet on top. Once flushed, water will pour from the top so that you can wash your hands. That water will then be used to refill the toilet. Genius.
Number 2, the magic words excuse me. Client service in Japan is next level. One particular aspect of this is the workers' responses to the magic word excuse me. In Japanese, it's sumimasen, but said very quickly, as they usually do, it sounds like simo-san. In restaurants, instead of the waiting staff checking in on a regular basis, they wait to be called. So picture sitting in the restaurant. Instead of gesturing, one would yell, "Simo-san!" and a staff member would come running to provide service. The funniest time I've seen Simo-san used is while we were with friends at a convenience store here in Niseko, Japan. One of the friends was in the middle of the aisle searching for an item. Typically in Canada, if you're at a Loblaws or you're at a Canadian Tire, you would have to walk around, track one of the workers down, and then ask them. You'd have to walk back, show them where the item would be, and then the search would begin. Instead, our friend tilted his head back like this and just yelled at the top of his lungs, "Simo-san!" Instantly, 2 workers came running at top speed. It was really funny to see the implementation of this fantastic service. So, it's something to keep in your back pocket. Simo-san is a magic word that can really help you out.
Number 1, saying thank you. While studying karate, our sensei told us that arigatou gozaimashita meant thank you for teaching me, master. Unfortunately, this was false. Arigatou gozaimashita is actually a formal way of saying thanks for a completed action in the past tense. Other ways of saying thank you include arigato, which means thank you, arigatou gozaimasu, which is more formal than arigato, and we've even heard people say gozaimasu, though we gather this is even more informal. Also, some people pronounce the extra sound at the end of gozaimasu, while others do not, and they'll say gozaimasu. This is simply a matter of accent.
That concludes this week's segment.
Thank you, and please tune in next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.